Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of A.K.47 Baseball Podcast. I'm Austin Speaker.
And I'm Kenny Stables.
And today it is with a heavy heart that we mourn the loss of Roy Halladay. One of the best of mine and Kenny's generation, being 20-something-year-olds. That was a game. The Blue Jays didn't really have much to talk about in the early to mid-2000s, but whenever Halladay was on, that was the game you watched.
Yeah, no, he would strike fear into opposing hitters. Like, it was an innate ability he had to just get into the heads of hitters. And he didn't throw 98. He didn't blow you away with his fastball. His hard sinker, good slider, curveball, changeup. And he just beat you into the ground with ground balls, and you couldn't hit him. He would two-hit you, you know. He wouldn't necessarily strike out 16 guys, but you would not get hits off him. And when you did, double plays would get him out of the inning. It was unreal. Like, the way he was on the mound, just the way he carried himself. He was a true professional. He just loved winning, you know.
Yeah. No, not a changeup, though. Palm ball.
Palm ball.
Yeah.
You're right.
So he'd have the horseshoe going the opposite way and really tucked into like the bottom part of his palm, almost towards his wrist. And yeah, just really roll it off his fingers. You couldn't hit it. It wasn't like a circle changeup or just a standard changeup with a little bit of fade. This was basically, he had a sinker of like 90 miles per hour, and then he had a palm ball with a head sinker movement at also like 80.
Yeah,
so just the change of speed was incredible.
Good luck elevating the ball on Halladay when he's on. Honestly, him and AJ Burnett with the Blue Jays back in like the mid to late 2000s scared the heck out of me as a kid.
2008 was their last year together.
Yeah.
Because then Burnett went to the Yankees after that.
And then Halladay went to the Phillies in 2010.
Yep.
And then, man, I mean, him with the Blue Jays though, just unbelievable. He scared the AL East. He was the most feared pitcher in the AL East at that time. I think you could make the case.
You could definitely make the case.
You could definitely argue that. His peak was some of the best we've ever seen.
Yeah.
On average pitch.
He pitched in the AL East at the same time, in the early 2000s, same time as Pedro.
Yeah.
But, you know, Halladay just overall, Pedro, they were different pitchers. So, like,
right.
And you're not going to see a pitcher today like you would see Halladay. Like you said, he relied on movement, location, change of speed, and ground balls. And, you know, normally it's like, okay, well, what if he has an off day? I think I can honestly say I've never seen Roy Halladay have an off day.
How many starts did he have less than 3 innings, 6 or more earned runs? Probably none. I mean, obviously he had some, but I'm saying like relative to other star pitchers.
Right.
Barely any.
You can judge a lot by a pitcher, and that's how I like to judge pitchers is, okay, so Luis Severino is great, electrifying. I'm excited for his future in pinstripes. But we saw it a couple times this year. Saw it in the wild card game, and we saw it on Mother's Day, I believe.
Yep.
You know, he's prone. Yeah, he's prone. 6 runs in the first inning. He's prone to it. 3 runs in the first inning. 6 runs in 3 innings. He's prone to it. Well, I mean, can't remember reading a box score the next day and saying, "Oh man, Halladay really got shelled."
No, and that's what separates a guy like Luis Severino up and coming to a consummate pro like Roy Halladay. It's like Severino when he's not on doesn't keep you in a game. He'll learn. Obviously, he's still young. But Roy Halladay, at his worst, will still, 4 runs keep you in a game.
4 runs through 5 innings, right? Labor out there, man.
Yeah. No, and it's just the way he was as a person. Just a great leader, good guy, funny guy from a lot of accounts.
Loved by everyone he's ever been in a clubhouse with. Chase Utley was, he took to Twitter and Instagram with it, and he was very saddened by the news. Brandon McCarthy was very hit by it. Dan Herron was very, it was just a lot of pretty much anyone he's ever pitched with or against. Every hitter he's ever faced, it's just really sad.
No, a death of his magnitude is felt not just throughout the baseball world, but everybody.
Yeah,
it's too sad.
It is. It's 40 years old.
It's too young.
The good die young, man.
They do.
40 years old, piloting his own single-engine private jet, and over the Gulf of Mexico.
Yep.
And I believe it was engine failure.
Something like private flying is highly dangerous. How many deaths do you hear of
Corey Lytle
flying into the mountains on your own plane? It's like it's awful. No one deserves to die like that. I just
when it happened, texted me and my brother and my dad about it, and just have very fond memories of my dad taking a day off of work. And me and my brother, he'd be in like middle school, or me in elementary school, or my brother like just starting high school, and me being like in elementary, middle school, him being a little older than me.
Yeah.
Be like, all right, so it's Blue Jays versus the Royals back when it was back in the Mike Sweeney days.
Oh, God,
So
so
you know, they were bad, but it was like, oh, Blue Jays Royals Wednesday matinee game. Who cares? I care because we're gonna see Roy Halladay versus Jeremy Guthrie. Fine,
and
let's
at the
go.
time, Jeremy Guthrie was a decent pitcher.
Right, like absolutely. Like, okay, Jeremy Guthrie really had nothing to do with the story, but
Okay.
but we're going to see we're going to see Roy Halladay. Like, let's go. We gotta leave. We gotta go to Tim Hortons and grab breakfast at 9. We gotta go. We gotta be at the stadium by between 11:30 at noon. Get some lunch and then get a hot dog and go watch. More often than not, 6-7+ innings of solid pitching.
And he was a true workhorse. I mentioned this before, but 120, 130 pitches, complete games. He's just the bullpen could sit back and relax when Roy Halladay was on the mound, and you can't really say the same for many pitchers nowadays.
Yeah.
So
it's really sad, really tough. Words can't describe what his impact was on the baseball community.
No.
And we'll probably, when I say probably, I mean definitely. He had the numbers to back it up anyway. And he was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So 2019 would be his Cooperstown induction.
He should get in based on his stats by himself. You know, 2 times Cy Young Award, anytime All-Star. His postseason numbers, unreal. I mean, Don Larson.
Yeah.
It's just him. Like I said, him against like as a kid watching the Yankees striking fear into the Yankees. They looked helpless.
Mm-hmm.
These weren't like bad Yankees teams. These were juggernaut Yankee offenses that he shut down mid 2000s.
Yep.
So
having that incredible postseason run under Joe Torre with I believe 13 straight years, they went to the postseason.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
It is tough.
But 2010, I'm glad you brought that up. 2010 I believe he's the only pitcher alongside Don Larson to throw a no-hitter in postseason.
Yep. And he threw a perfect game that regular season too.
He did. It was in 2010, and I can't picture who it was against. I can just picture the last out. It was
Giants.
Was it the Giants?
I think.
I can picture the last out. It was a dribbler in front of home plate. Carlos Ruiz had to jump over the bat that was in front of home plate and be on his knees and pick up the ball barehand and throw a strike to Ryan Howard. And when I first watched that live, I thought Howard's foot came off the bat like a tad early.
Yeah.
But no.
No, Roy Halladay was to Blue Jay fans the way Jeter was to Yankee fans.
Oh, absolutely.
I think you can make that comparison.
I think that's very reasonable. Jeter's one of the best shortstops of all time, and I think he did it without being the most talented. Now, bear with me when I say that because people might call that ludicrous.
You're talking Jeter.
I'm talking Jeter.
Yeah.
I'm saying he had to work. He had to grind out at bats. And he was really good at just getting base hits. And sometimes, it just happens where I think clutch is genetic. And sometimes there's a storybook ending for everyone. 3,000th hit is his home run, Mr. November. The walk-off hit at his final home game. Just those things, you can't. Those aren't coincidences.
What's the saying? Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time moments.
That's right.
And that's what he did.
And Roy Halladay, being with the Blue Jays, never really had the big-time moments.
No.
But winning 2 Cy Youngs and having a no-hitter in a postseason game the same year he threw a perfect game, I think that tells the story right there. And that was at the end of his career.
That's with a new team in 2010.
With a new team, brand new team at the end of his career, kind of considered outside his prime. He was around 33 at that point. He was kind of exiting his prime, and he's still just shutting people down with movement and location and changing speeds, how pitching should be.
I'd say 08, 09 was his peak years,
right?
In terms of pitching, just unbelievable. Just he'll be missed. Like I said, vivid memories of him as a kid. Gone too soon, man. He really is.
I wanted to go over that Phillies rotation in 2010.
Okay.
Cliff Lee,
yeah,
Roy Halladay, Roy Oswalt, and Joe Blanton was like their 5 guy, but that didn't really matter. Who's their 4? They had 4 studs. Pedro, thank you.
Pedro.
Thank you. That's right.
Because they traded for him.
So yes, that was very good.
Sure.
Yeah, that was very good.
Pretty good namesake.
Even then, just the top 3 I mentioned there with Roy Oswalt at the time being in the 2009 World Baseball Classic for Team USA, and then Roy Halladay is their 2 starter behind Cliff Lee, who's a reigning Cy Young winner that year.
Yeah. And you can make the case a lot of those guys were known for being on other teams too. Like Cliff Lee
and the Indians, Roy Oswalt and the Astros.
Yeah,
that's right.
They'd put it together.
Yeah,
they had a damn good year.
A very good year. But that's We could probably talk 47 minutes about Roy Halladay, but we got a lot of other stuff to cover too, like the Baseball Writers Association of America awards. Excuse me.
The highly, highly variable Gold Glove winners, which every year are sometimes.
So we'll go over the Gold Glove winners first, since those were already announced, and then our thoughts on that prediction for Platinum Gloves. And then we'll go over what we feel about the other awards. Okay.
Well, I think we should talk about who the real, true defensive talent is at every position. Like,
absolutely.
Not screw Gold Gloves, screw stats. This is who the best defender at each position is, common sense wise, just ability, pure.
So
ability.
not using sabermetrics or anything.
No,
like that.
just pure ability, ability to make the big play.
Right.
Let's say Manny Machado makes 18 errors one year. I still trust him at third base.
I'm looking at the National League, and I gotta say, I can't really think of too many better pure defenders. By what you say, the eyeball test.
Yeah.
Looking at the National League list, I can't really think of anyone else that I would put on here that I would be like, oh, well, this person clearly got snubbed, or this person's clearly better than this person. Because
I could think of a few.
We'll start with Tucker Barnhart for the Reds. Congratulations, Tucker Barnhart, winning his first Gold Glove. One of the few bright spots this year for Cincinnati.
Very few. Him and Votto. And
yeah.
That's about it.
Okay, so one of the two bright spots is what you said. And your love for Billy Hamilton, if he were to get on base over 30% of the time.
Yes.
But that doesn't happen.
No.
Tucker Barnhart, thinking around other guys in the National League who are viable catchers.
See, the problem with the Gold Glove award is sometimes it's based on reputation and not actually how you perform that year. And I don't think defense can be quantified on a year-by-year basis. I think if you have that defensive ability, you have it. I mean, like I said, if Manny Machado makes more throwing errors one year than he did,
right.
I still think he's the best at third base.
But I also think that while you're right to an extent, that clearly I think on a whole year, who would you rather have behind home plate, Tucker Barnhart or Yadier Molina? Think hard before you say that.
Probably Molina.
Probably Molina, and I agree, but we've seen a lot of more pass balls and wild pitches than normal.
You're right, especially
from Molina.
When the Cardinals were at Yankee Stadium.
That three-game series, he had, I believe, 7 pass balls.
Is age catching up to him? He's caught a lot of games.
Yeah,
he catches every
maybe.
game.
He's 162 games for 10 years with St. Louis.
There's no DH. Like, you either play or you don't.
Right. So I think Sanchez is lucky that Gary Sanchez, talking about the Yankees, he's lucky that he can DH. And Sandy Leon is lucky that he can DH for the Red Sox every now and then if Christian Vasquez wants to catch, and vice versa, because they can both kind of hit. But, going around, when Matt Wieters was on Baltimore, he DH'd every now and then.
Yeah.
So, those guys are kind of lucky to an extent. They can kind of take a half day off and give their knees a break. But with Molina, you're right. With Molina, you got 10 years plus playoffs of 160 or 100. I'll say 150 plus games.
That's a lot of mileage.
Yeah,
it is. And going back to Barnhart, a small sample size watching him against the Yankees this year, but I didn't really watch much of him this year. Obviously, Reds games, but from what I saw, he's very athletic, good at blocking balls, quick release, strong arm.
Decent bat too, contact hitter.
No, yeah, he's a pretty good catcher, prospect in general.
Yeah. And did you see what Sports Illustrated, by the way, said? Since we're on the topic of the Reds,
what did they say?
They're probably going to do this every year now because the Astros won it in 2017, as predicted in 2012. So the prediction made in November 2017 is that the World Series 2020 champions will be the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay. I know we said this in 2014.
I know we said this in 2012, where it was the Astros are going to be last place cellar dwellers forever. But
I guess if Hamilton hits, if their pitching gets better, yeah.
The feature covered athlete for that prediction, Luis Castillo.
He's something else.
He can throw.
He's got a ton of potential.
All right, but we gotta. That's for a later date. Yeah. But we gotta move on. Paul Goldschmidt, MVP candidate and Gold Glove winner for the Diamondbacks. This is his third Gold Glove win, and this is now we're starting to get into the names where I'm thinking around just off the top of my head around the league. Not really a whole lot of other guys I'd rather have it first besides Goldschmidt. Maybe make an argument for Rizzo.
Maybe.
But I just think the Diamondbacks got so much publicity this year with being the second best team in the NL behind the Dodgers and winning the wild card. Goldschmidt being at the helm of that.
Yeah.
He is the guy that runs through that team. That team runs through Goldschmidt is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So what he can steal 10, 15 plus bases every year. Gold Glove, clearly. 325 hitter with
power,
with 35 plus home runs, with 100 plus RBIs and 100 plus runs, and 80 plus walks. Right. So
he's
the complete player
because he's in Arizona. If he played for a team on the East Coast,
right.
Let's be honest, he doesn't get the credit he deserves a lot.
I think Jose Altuve and George Springer both are like the most complete players in terms of 5-tool ability in the American League. But is Paul Goldschmidt the most complete player in the National League?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
him or Blackman. And you mean hitting or just in general?
Just overall.
Oh yeah,
player.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I think if I had to, I can make the argument for Goldschmidt, but I think my argument would be who won third base Gold Glove. I'll just skip second base for now. But second and third base were on the same team anyway. So third base Gold Glove, Nolan Arenado is my pick for most complete player in the National League. I mean, you really can't. It's kind of like flipping a coin at that point. Who'd you rather have, Goldschmidt or Arenado?
Right.
They're both very great.
I mean, I'll take Arenado just because premium position. But
I get that.
Yeah.
And then DJ LeMahieu for second base, winning Gold Glove. Now maybe let's brainstorm for a minute. Did LeMahieu? He's good player.
He's known as sort of an offensive-minded second base.
Right, good player.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Daniel Murphy should win Gold Glove because he'll never win a Gold Glove today, forever as long as he's in the league.
He'll never win any glove.
He'll never win any glove ever, right? But just going around the league, D. Gordon, slick fielder, kind of one of those things. Javier Baez played a lot of second base this year for the Cubs, and he is a wizard with the glove.
Best tagger in
one
the league.
One of my favorite middle infielders. If only he could be consistent. If he could hit. No, I'm not talking about crazy numbers, but if Javi Baez could be every single year could be 280 with 28 home runs and 85 RBIs, which I think he's capable of doing more than that.
Yeah.
I think he's capable of doing more than that, but I want to see him strike out less than 150 times. If he can do that, then I think he's probably my favorite middle infielder in the league. Yeah. And I still think he should have won over DJ LeMahieu because I think he got enough reps at second to qualify.
Sure, yeah, if he qualified, you can make the case, but like I said, Gold Gloves are so wishy-washy sometimes.
Like you said, reputation, LeMahieu, it's his second one, so he's won it before.
Yeah.
Kind of give it to him. Here's one I disagree with, and I know you disagree with me too on this. Brandon Crawford winning it is his third Gold Glove for shortstop. Is he really the best National League shortstop defensively?
He's not what he was a few years ago.
He's not.
He's still good. He's still great there, but compared to like Trey Turner.
Even Addison Russell and Javier Baez.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take Russell over Crawford defensively.
Yeah. I mean, Crawford's slick, and he's got one of the quickest hands I've ever seen in turning a double play. I just don't think this year was his year. Maybe next year's his year.
Maybe next year.
Last year was definitely his year.
Yeah.
This year was not.
No, definitely.
And I think those names, Turner probably would have been my pick.
Yeah.
Trey Turner. Just because he made some ridiculous plays.
No,
and he's so fast.
Yeah.
So the outfield in the National League, Marcelo Zuna, Edner Inciarte, Jason Hayward, left, center, right.
Hayward makes sense. He's great out there.
Also, like you said, he kind of falls into your reputation category.
Hayward?
Yeah,
no,
but like, who else is there? He's so good.
He's great out there.
Edner Inciarte, I'm so happy for him. Last year was his first Gold Glove, and this year's his second one, and he's not going to stop for a while.
Really? Inciarte over Billy Hamilton?
Inciarte? Billy Hamilton is really fast and gets to everything. Has no arm.
He has a great arm.
He does not have an arm.
No, Austin, he has a great arm. Trust me.
Does not have Inciarte's arm. Inciarte has a cannon.
I highly disagree. Actually,
You disagree?
I think Hamilton has a way better arm than Inciarte.
I think Inciarte's arm is like a notch or two below Ankiel.
I think Hamilton's in that category. Hamilton does not have a bad arm by any means. He was a shortstop. He has a great arm.
Okay. He was a shortstop. Now he's a center fielder.
Yeah, because of his speed.
Yeah, because of his speed, but like his arm doesn't. The arms don't translate there.
All I'm saying is, I think you're underestimating Billy Hamilton because he's like a skinny, kind of smallish stature kind of guy.
I am not questioning his speed and range, because literally Duvall and Schebler out there on Cincinnati can just straddle the left and right field lines.
Yeah,
they can just they can just stay there for all I care because Hamilton can catch everything else. Literally, there's an MLB Network commercial of those two chilling in lawn chairs and being like, "Oh yeah, no, we don't got to play defense. Hamilton's got it out there." That's only an exaggeration by a little bit. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, Hamilton and Buxton in center field. You don't need corner outfielders necessarily.
I'm so happy for Byron Buxton, but we'll get to that when we get to the American League. But Osuna in the left field, I really can't think of too many other left fielders in the National League that like have better qualifications than Marcelo Osuna. Because Gold Glove.
Okay, no, he's got a
Gold
great
Glove.
Arm.
Yeah, no, that's a guy with a great arm just doesn't catch the ball.
Sometimes.
If Michael Conforto played the whole year and didn't get injured, I can make them. No?
I don't think he's offensive-minded. I don't think he's a great defender. He's good defensively. He's not Gold Glove, but he's decent.
Okay. I can make the case for him for Rookie of the Year. But
yeah,
I digress. I think, and then Zach Greinke winning it for pitcher. It's his 4th Gold Glove. It's Marcelo Osuna's 1st Gold Glove, Inciarte's 2nd, Hayward's 5th, Greinke's 4th.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm going through the National League, and you can make a couple arguments, but you were, bickering out some names a little bit, like LeMahieu maybe.
Crawford.
I still think Inciarte should win it. But LeMahieu and Crawford up the middle, okay, you know what? They're not terrible defenders, but I just think there were other options. But still, the names were pretty solid.
Yeah.
American League, I'm going to start right away with Martin Maldonado, and it's his 1st Gold Glove. Congratulations, Martin Maldonado. You are on our most hated players team, and whatever.
Yeah. I don't. He's a great defensive catcher. The metrics this year said he's better than Salvador Perez, but I'll still take Salvador Perez.
I'll take Salvador
for
Perez
everything else that I'm not talking purely defensively. I'm sure Maldonado's does things Perez can't. Like what?
People say that, like, oh man, he had a great year behind the plate. Throwing out this many runners. Look at the way he blocks the ball, and I'm just kind of watching that. Like,
I'll take the intangible Salvador Perez brings every day.
Another thing too is I think Maldonado's framing had something to do with it.
Yep, for sure. But a little better than Perez this year.
Yeah. And that might be the same case for Barnhart as well. Maldonado's just funny. Okay, do you think Sanchez, if he could learn to block, would he ever have a chance at Gold Glove?
Probably not.
If he could block.
If he could block, maybe. But if he could block balls, he'd be the perfect catcher. Let's be honest.
He has the best arm in the league.
Best arm, best hitter, and catching wise.
And that's another thing too. I think maybe before we go for the rest of the American League, let's step back for a minute. Okay. This is Gold Glove.
Yep.
Gold Glove is 100% defense only. You literally do not need a bat to qualify for this position. So maybe we should step away before we start talking about like Salvador Perez.
Well, this is one of my issues with Gold Glove is it's not all defense that comes into this.
It's also framing an arm.
It's framing arm and like how if you lead your team to the playoffs, I think offense sort of bleeds into it a little bit. Like, why is Hosmer winning his 4th Gold Glove? He could pick balls like no other, but his range isn't that great. He throws decent. Moreland's a way better first baseman than Hosmer is.
I would not say way better. I wouldn't say
Moreland?
I wouldn't say way better. I know, but you're saying way better than Eric Hosmer.
He's better at turning double plays.
Am I disagreeing with you in the fact that Moreland is probably a better defender than Hosmer? I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just not going to use the term way better.
Okay, I think Moreland is better at turning double plays. I'll take Hosmer scooping balls and making the routine play and making the smart play. Mm-hmm. But Moreland, he's got a cannon of an arm. He's got the quickest release out of any first baseman in the American League going to second base.
Which is huge.
Yeah. He's known as like a power-hitting first baseman, but he can pick it. He really can.
I want to go back to Maldonado for catchers, just in general. I think also Gold Glove for catchers. I think handling the staff has something to do with it as well.
Sure, yeah, I think it does.
So that's my question. Why is Maldonado winning this award? Because he's one of those guys where he doesn't look like he knows how to handle a staff. He kind of just yells.
At league, I'm sure, he does. He's a major league catcher. But compared to a guy like Sal Perez, Russell Martin even.
Right. Yeah. Guys I would rather have behind the plate than him.
Yeah.
But
I'll take Maldonado.
Fine.
I'll take Salvador Perez over him. But,
yes. And then Hosmer, we already talked about Hosmer. Brian Dozier wins it for the Twins, 1st Gold Glove for him.
A healthy Robinson Cano wins this award every year.
Dude, Jose Altuve.
Or Altuve.
Why is the MVP candidate and probably MVP winner not winning this award?
No.
That's what's crazy to me.
Jonathan Scope.
Jonathan Scope had a great year. He is not getting any consideration for any award out there, and it makes me really mad because Dozier is not a defender. He's a 40 home run bopping second baseman. Right. He's Jonathan Scope, you're right.
That's probably the worst one out of anything. Brian Dozier winning it.
I think the two names that come to mind are you saying Scope and me saying Altuve. Those, right, we can agree. Dozier,
a healthy Cano.
Or a healthy Cano playing the whole year. Just, he's just flawless. But right there, we can agree that Dozier should not have won.
No. Why?
I wish I had answers for you.
But
I'm not part of the Baseball Writers Association of America.
I'm not, no.
Evan Longoria wins his third Gold Glove, American League third base. And here's your reputation thing.
Here's the reputation.
Is this your argument? Okay,
yeah.
Let me hear it.
Longoria's still a good defender, not what he was 3-4 years ago at third base. Did Machado Machado was hurt, I think.
He was hurt, but for like, a month maybe.
Why didn't Machado win if he qualified?
I don't know.
Donaldson?
I don't.
Right?
Donaldson's sweet too. Yeah.
I don't know. It's wishy-washy, like I said.
Chase Headley.
Yeah, Chase Headley. Todd Frazier.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? But if you have Todd Frazier's throwing ability with Chase Headley's fielding ability, because one of them could field and one of them could throw, but they both can't do it.
No.
No, but yeah, Longoria, it's a hard one. He's great, but it's a hard one.
And we're not discrediting anyone's defense.
No, not at all.
It's just comparison to others.
Right, there's other names out there that should have been strongly considered.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying. Like Alex Gordon wins his 5th Gold Glove in left field. I think Brett Gardner should have repeated his award. I remember last year, Brett Gardner won it, and I texted you, and I was like, "Really, Brett Gardner winning a Gold Glove award?" And then you're like, "Yeah, man. Who else is out there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. Alex Gordon was injured all last year, and the only one I can really think of is Melky. So I'd rather have Gardner." No. So I guess you're right. But this year, I think Gordon's great, but I think Gardner
was even better.
He showed a lot more. Now that he won it last year, he showed a lot more promise. I think his arm's improved over the past few years. I think he showed a lot more better judgment and control with his range, diving, jumping up against the wall.
Yeah.
I was at that game in Cleveland when he made the second to last out with Chapman up on the mound in a 1-0 game. And he jumped up against the wall, and it barely hit the top of his webbing and fell into his glove and didn't. And it was off of Jose Ramirez.
Yep.
Didn't hit the wall. I was sitting 500 level, looking right at that wall. I had a perfect view of it. It was fantastic.
Well, Gardner's a center fielder playing left field, pretty much. And his ability to slide to cut off balls and hold runners to singles is unparalleled around the league. I'll take Alex Gordon's arm over anyone.
Yeah, he does have
especially Gardner, but I'll take Gardner everything else in left field.
I agree with you. And center field, Byron Buxton. I'll let you go on your rant in a minute. I just want to say how happy I am for Byron Buxton, that I thought he was forever going to be in the shadows of Pilar and Kiermaier in terms of Gold Glove center fielders.
Byron Buxton is the best defensive center fielder in baseball, bar none. More than Billy Hamilton. More than Billy Hamilton, more than Kiermaier. As much as I love Kiermaier,
Buxton has a freaking hose, though.
And he's a gazelle out there.
He is.
He's
fast as all hell, and he runs like a gazelle. He kind of like has the really long jumping strides.
He's a big guy, so he can rob home runs.
Right. And also his gun, his absolute rifle of an arm is comparable in my opinion to Leonys Martin.
Sure.
The right-handed Leonys Martin.
Yeah. Well, Leonys Martin throws right-handed. He just bats lefty.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. But no, Byron Buxton, absolutely. Best defensive center fielder in baseball. I am the biggest Kevin Kiermaier fan. You can't go wrong with either, but I'll take Buxton over Kiermaier. He's unreal out there.
Mookie Betts winning for right field.
Yeah. Who would you rather have?
Maybe I'm biased, but Judge had a great...
Not over Betts.
I get it, but he's 6'7", 280 pounds, 282 pounds to be exact, playing right field every day with a few DH days. He made some plays that you do not see from a lot out men.
He doesn't have the range Betts has.
No, but I just think it was really impressive.
He looked a little out there at times.
Robbing home runs every now and then and diving into the stands at Fenway.
Judge does struggle sometimes reading the wall. Betts is amazing at playing balls off the wall. I think it's the little things that go
I think Judge doesn't have to read the wall. I think the walls have to read Aaron Judge.
That's a good point.
He's 6'7", 282 pounds of muscle. Yeah. He's going to dent some walls every now and then. He'll dent the bricks of Wrigley if he has to.
No, you're right. That's a good point. But what competition does Betts have, though? Bautista's not going to win.
You're right. Bautista's not going to win. Kiermaier's a center fielder. Yeah. I can't really. I guess you're right.
Yeah.
And then we go to pitcher. Marcus Stroman wins his first Gold Glove, and I like him just because I know he was like, was he on your Players You Hate team?
Yep,
he was. See, I get I get that. I get why he rubs some people the wrong way, but he has like just such a chip on your shoulder attitude. And maybe I just relate to him because we're both under 5'11", and we're both under 190 pounds.
Yeah.
And when I was pitching in college, I looked up to him. He had great stride length, great torque with his hips, and just great mechanics overall. And his sinker slider combo is nasty. And that's what I threw. That's what he threw. And you know, I like him a lot, and I'm happy for him because he's also very athletic. He could play shortstop. Really, he looks like he could play shortstop.
It's him, Keuchel, or Tanaka. I mean, as top 3.
And Keuchel, I'm glad you brought that up because I think he finishes his position in terms of following through his release point and then coming up square. I think he does that better than anyone. I think he does it the best since Greg Maddux.
Yeah.
The best since Greg Maddux.
I would agree with that. He's not fast necessarily, but he's quick off the mound.
Right.
Like, he's good at reading the ball. Like I said, reading the ball, cutting off angles is huge.
I think those are like pretty much the perennial 3 names we're going to have every year from now on. Stroman, good for him. He deserves it. So does Keuchel and Tanaka. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But Stroman's well-deserved. Yeah. I'm not disappointed with that at all.
Absolutely. So that does it for Gold Glove. Anyone else in mind that you thought maybe should have been in the race? We can both agree the American League was pretty skewed. I want to say the National League was kind of straightforward. You can make a couple arguments here and there, but the American League was wow. Brian Dozier should not have won.
Hosmer, Dozier, yeah. There's a lot of them there.
Brian Dozier. Oh, God.
Well, Platinum Gloves. Who do you think's going to win Platinum Glove? Simmons, obviously, for the American League, and Arenado for the National League, you think? Pretty obvious to me.
Did I not talk about Andrelton Simmons, by the way, in the American League?
We didn't mention him.
We did not? Did we skip
over
him?
He's the best fielding shortstop in baseball.
Well, we might as well talk about him now, then. Yeah, hands down. He's as slick as they come, and probably going to win another Platinum Glove. Just because he's so great. I would be okay with Byron Buxton winning it as well.
Yeah. Sure, you can make the case for either. I'll take Simmons, though.
National League, I think Nolan Arenado every year should win the Gold Glove and Platinum Glove in the National League. Just because we see some things from the third base position from him that Brooks Robinson would be impressed with. And we're just like, we are blessed to see him play third base every day. He is a gift.
He's a once-in-a-lifetime talent.
Oh, my God.
Defensively, at least. Well, both sides, but...
Is Brian a good fielder? Sure. Is, who else? Is Anthony Rendon a good fielder? Sure. Are they Nolan Arenado? Not by a long shot.
Nobody's Nolan Arenado. No.
So those are my picks. My picks, I think, are going to be Simmons is great, but I think my picks this year are going to be Buxton and Arenado.
Okay. I'm going to go Simmons and Arenado.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because I think the writers are going to think shortstop, more premium position than center field.
So we're going to go.
That's just my opinion.
We're going to go a little bit of rapid fire here, speed things up through the Baseball Writers Awards. We're going to start with the bottom tier and work up in terms of awards. Starting with National League Rookie of the Year. This is just obvious to me. Yeah. Is it Josh Bell, Cody Bellinger, or Paul DeJong? Here's a hint: it's not Paul DeJong or Josh Bell.
It's Cody Bellinger.
It's going to be Cody Bellinger.
It's Cody. Don't call me Clay Bellinger.
39 home runs, almost a 300 average, if I'm not mistaken, like 295-ish. And 100 RBIs out of the rookie season. Yeah, it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be him.
Even if not 290, he's right around the 270 range.
And, boy, I feel really bad for Andrew Benintendi and Trey Mancini because they both had fantastic seasons.
If Aaron Judge didn't exist, then Benintendi would probably win it, or Mancini.
Yeah, that'd be a close call if it was down to those two.
That would be a close race.
If it was down to those two,
cut as you think.
It's not. Because a lot of people might think, oh, dude, Benintendi, 20 home runs, 20 steals. Mancini is a 280 hitter with 30-some-odd home runs.
Mancini has some of the best bat speed I've seen out of a rookie in a while. You can only beat him with like the high fastball because he catches up to everything else. He's unbelievable. I love him as a pure hitter in general. Mm-hmm. I don't think he should be an outfielder.
Should be a DH first baseman.
Yes. Yeah.
Benintendi also had a great year, but no one's Aaron Judge.
No, Aaron Judge will win.
He's the man. Then we go to Manager of the Year. We'll start with the National League. We got Bud Black, Torey Lovullo, and Dave Roberts, who, just for the love of God, if Dave Roberts wins, I'm going to be so mad. He's terrible. He's not that great a manager.
He's a good, decent manager.
Not a good bullpen manager. That's a big knock on him.
Yes.
His bullpen management.
Look at Brendan Moore.
And do you really need to be a good manager with that Dodger team? Did you really need to like?
You need to have a basic semblance of how to manage a team. Yeah,
But basic, like
not use Brandon Morrow 7 games. That was awful.
That's something that should not happen.
That's how you ruin someone's career.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, the Dodgers were the best team in the league, and they went to the World Series. Good for Dave Roberts, but to see the turnaround that the Rockies and D-backs had at the helms of Bud Black and Torey Lovullo. Good for those guys. One of those two should. I actually am confident with saying I don't care who wins NL Manager of the Year as long as it's not Dave Roberts. If it's Bud Black or Lovullo, I do not care.
I completely agree. You could make the case for Bud Black, managing his pitching staff, almost all rookies. Antonio Senzatella, German Marquez, Jeff Hoffman, Kyle Freeland. Chad Bettis coming back from testicular cancer.
All those guys.
I mean, what pitching did he have? He did a great job managing them.
Yeah.
Great hitting, obviously, in cores, but Torey Lovullo, J.D. Martinez coming over, kind of keeping him in check. He's scorching hot.
A lot of people saying J.D. Martinez is the reason why Goldschmidt is in the MVP race because that was the protection he needed. Pollock's a good hitter. David Peralta had some good stretches, but J.D. Martinez was that hitter, that protected hitter that Goldschmidt needed.
I think Bud Black...
And Lovullo used him well.
Right. I think Bud Black's going to win, but Torey Lovullo in his first year, after being the bench coach for John Farrell in Boston...
Very good job.
If he won, it wouldn't shock me either. You really can't go wrong with either of them.
Very good job. So Manager of the Year, I think... I don't have a clear-cut answer. I just know that...
Oh, I do.
I just know that it's not A.J. Hinch for me.
It's not A.J. Hinch, no.
Because, again, do you really need to be a good manager for that Astros team? Did you really need to be a good manager?
Like I said, you need to occupy some semblance of
right, you had to have some baseball IQ. Terry Francona, obviously the big story there is 22 straight wins with the Indians. But Paul Molitor, man, coming off 200 win seasons or just 100, or sorry, loss. 200 loss seasons or just 100 loss season? Just one to make him a wild card team. After getting Jaime Garcia and trading him, after trading Brandon Kinsler.
Looking at the Twins, especially after the trades. Looking at and Glenn Perkins being hurt too.
Yep.
Looking at just the construct of that roster, that should not have been a playoff team. I think you could reasonably say that.
With the ace being Irvin Santana, who had a great year.
Great year. Outside of Irvin Santana, Barrios was up and down. Hector Santiago was bad.
I'm a Barrios fan, by the way.
I am
Can we just talk about that for a minute? I'm a huge Barrios fan.
Yeah, he's very good.
I'm excited for his future alongside Severino. Those two are going to be electric.
But the bullpen was the lineup was okay at times. Robbie Grossman, Zach Granite, Buxton came into his own second half. Jorge Polanco was really good in June. He's the best hitting shortstop in June. I think it was June. Yeah. Dozier had a great year. Sano, Mauer had a pretty decent year at first base.
So you're going through this lineup, and I'm kind of getting my pattern is Molitor did a great job managing the team and keeping everyone on like the winning track, not letting any of the players get down on themselves, and that's what you want out of a manager. You want everyone to have the right attitude.
Yep.
But I also think you're naming all the names you're saying. I'm thinking, wow, this is a huge team of overperformance.
That's what I'm saying.
So if this is the same roster in 2018 for the Twins, they're still going to have their work cut out for them. They're not a clear playoff team because that's not the best roster on paper. You need them to overperform or do at least what they did this year.
Well, that's why I think Molitor's going to win. Like I said, Santana's not going to have the year he had this year. Next year, he'll be good probably,
right?
But not at all to the level.
Right, and is Jorge Polanco going to do this? Is Eddie Rosario going to
catch fire for a month and a half? Rosario was hot early on, I think, in the season. It was a bunch of overachievers, and there's nothing wrong with that, but he got the most out of them.
It's kind of one of those, like, good for them.
Yeah.
But,
outside of Sano and Dozier, it's a team full of overachievers.
Right.
So I think Molitor wins. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're going to move on to Cy Young, and we got an interesting race here. So we'll start with the National League. Kershaw, Scherzer, and Strasburg. Now, that's interesting to me that Scherzer and Strasburg are on the same team, the 1-2 punches, both qualifying for Cy Young. And at first I was like, really, Strasburg and Scherzer? And then I looked at the numbers. I think Strasburg has a better chance than Scherzer this year.
I don't think so. I think Scherzer wins again.
But I think with the context of Strasburg, think about this for a minute. Tell me if you believe this already.
Okay.
This was his 8th full year.
Strasburg.
Yep.
Oh, feels like just yesterday.
Don't we feel old?
Yeah.
We're not old, but don't we feel old?
He pitched at San Diego State. It feels like a year ago.
I remember watching that on MLB Network.
Yeah.
Like, he's been in the league since after MLB Network was on the air, which was only in 2009. January 2009 was the boot up for that program. So, good for him. And I think the context of him having the innings there, there was an injury or two, but nothing major, keeping him sidelined the whole year. He was able to play at least 5 of the 6 months. And it's just, I know that he's shadowed by Scherzer, but you can make the case that he's just as good, if not better.
If he's going to win it, it might be this year, though. Second in opponents' OPS against. I don't know, Scherzer. I just think Scherzer's going to get it. The namesake number one, but it's just...
Over Kershaw.
Yeah.
Kershaw was out too for a little bit, about a month and a half or so.
He was out for a while,
Come on. This is one of the most unfair races because these are 3 names that you could have every year.
Just in terms of sheer dominance, Max Scherzer has to win this.
Career best 2.52 ERA. Led the National League he gave up only 0.6 home runs per 9 innings.
Oh, wow. That's minuscule.
He gave up half a home run a game. Which in terms of MLB
that's basically
average, MLB average is like around 2-ish.
That's like a home run every 2.5 starts. He gives up like a solo shot.
Right.
And that's it.
And that's all it is too, because no one gets on base. Strasburg is hittable and he'll walk some guys. But I think with Kershaw and Scherzer, I think you're right in that regards where those 2 guys could potentially be a perfect game every single start.
15 games of 10 or more strikeouts for Scherzer. That's just dominance. You can't put the ball in play. How are you going to hit him?
But look at Kershaw's strikeout per 9 ratio as a starter. This isn't a bullpen. This isn't a guy coming out of the bullpen throwing 101 with a nasty slider, Chapman. This is a starter with 12 Ks per 9. He averages 12 Ks a start. Think about that.
No, yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Oh my God. That's
Kershaw led an ERA too, didn't he?
No. Yes, he did. 2.31 with Scherzer having 2.5, Strasburg with a 2.5, sorry, and Scherzer had, what did Scherzer have? He had a sorry, that's Strasburg.
That's all right.
That's Strasburg.
I think all 3 are
Scherzer had a 2.4.
Yeah, you could really go with either one of those guys. I think Scherzer will come out on top, though. That's just me.
Again, that's one of those things I really don't care who wins. That was such a good race.
Oh, yeah.
American League Cy Young. Now, one of these names is not like the other.
Yeah.
Kluber is a Cy Young candidate. Chris Sale is a Cy Young candidate. Luis Severino had a great year. He is not going to win.
Not going to win over those guys.
He's not going to win. So, who's going to win?
Kluber.
Really?
Yep.
I'm a little speechless, but go ahead. I want to hear it.
It's been well documented that Chris Sale in the second half is not the pitcher he usually is. Kluber doesn't really have a drop-off.
If anything, Kluber gets hotter at the end of the year.
Yes.
Into the playoff run.
I think that's what's going to separate him because everyone's going to look at, Chris Sale, second half numbers aren't as good. Kluber doesn't drop off. He's just consistent.
Chris Sale has 13 Ks per 9, 214 in the third innings pitched, so he's a workhorse.
Yeah.
2.9 ERA, 313 strikeouts.
That would be the case for him winning.
313 strikeouts. In the age of the true outcome, if there's a reason for Sale to win that and Judge to win MVP, it's the home runs and the strikeouts.
Yeah. I mean, Kluber, 265 strikeouts, 38 walks. Just 38 walks.
Now that's a huge case for him.
Right.
Because that's
I'm saying from a pitching standpoint, Kluber wins. But from a pure dominance standpoint, it's Sale. Would you agree?
Yeah, I got to think of it this way. Who would I rather stand in the box against? More traditional pitcher, decent movement, like obviously going to strike my butt out. Corey Kluber is very traditional. But I have no clue where Chris Sale's body is going to end up. And he locates, and he has movement, and he strikes out 313 guys.
He's wacky, wavy, inflatable arm
flailing two men, right?
Family Guy as a pitcher.
Oh my God, that's the hardest lefty pitcher.
Again, we come back to this. You make the case for either, but I think Kluber comes out on top. That's just me.
I think Sale does because of the strikeouts.
Okay. And I would agree with you. That's the case for him.
And, Kluber had a great second half.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I gotta go with Sale.
These are close races.
So this is an interesting one for me. In the National League, right, is you got Goldschmidt, Stanton, and Joey Votto. And it's just funny to me because, well, I'll tell you what. I want to hear your thoughts, but I'll tell you why I think there are a couple of names that aren't in here.
Okay.
Go ahead. What do you think is going to win?
Who do I think is going to win?
Yep.
Oh, man. I honestly, if you love power, Stanton. If you love OPS, Joey Votto. If you love all around,
Harold Reynolds is going to agree with you on Stanton because that's what today's game is.
Right.
You can't mistake 59 home runs.
If you love stat stuffing, Paul Goldschmidt. If you love OPS, getting on base, all that, Joey Votto, and he hits for power too, but not Stanton. Like all three of these guys stand out in one way. Goldschmidt for their all-around stat stuffing, Votto for his patience and OPS.
More
Stanton
walks than
power.
strikeouts.
Yeah, that's unheard of nowadays.
More than 120 walks and less than 85 strikeouts.
Yep.
Wow.
It's another
Wow,
race.
That's good.
It's another race where if anyone wins it, I can't say I'm surprised. I think Stanton wins, but
I think Goldschmidt wins.
okay.
You got to credit. I think you got to give a little more credit to the MVP race teams. And it's not like Goldschmidt doesn't have power. He has 40 home run power. He's got 300 plus average. Stanton is just he made some mechanical adjustments in the second half and just took off.
I'm saying.
I'm curious if he has the same mechanics all 162 games next year. Where do you pitch him?
I don't know.
You can't.
You just walk him every time.
You're better off. But Marcell Ozuna also had great years protecting him.
Yeah.
So you're going to go with Stanton. I'm going to go with Goldschmidt.
Okay.
American League MVP. Oh, wait. First of all, before we get to the American League MVP, I said two names that aren't on here. Arenado and Blackman. You want to know why they're not on here?
Why?
Because they cancel each other out.
That's a good point.
I think they cancel each other out. They were both the studs of their team, and they were both so good. It was almost like they split the vote. And it was almost like everyone that was voting for MVP finalists, like, oh, yeah, no, you got to have a bunch of votes for Stanton, a bunch of votes for Votto, and a bunch of votes for Goldschmidt. And where normally Arenado would get a bunch of votes, Blackman had a year. So now you kind of split the votes for Arenado in half, and they each get half, which is not enough to finish in the final three.
Right, and I could totally see that, yeah.
So that's my theory on that, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Yeah.
And I was watching Ken Rosenthal explain everything, too. That's what he said as well. American League MVP. This is the one that I'm pretty sure everyone's been waiting for. This is the one everyone's been talking about. As we are in 47 minutes, we will go over a little bit today. We apologize, but today was an important day.
Yeah, it was
and
an exception. Awards.
Right, awards and mourning. That's our excuse.
Right.
Aaron Judge or Jose Altuve.
Judge.
And probably not Jose Ramirez.
Judge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Judge.
I want to hear it.
I think it's clear cut. I don't think it's...
You think it's clear cut? I'm not going to say clear cut.
The only thing Altuve beat out Judge in is average and stolen bases. That's it. That's it.
OPS?
Nope. Judge.
You're just sitting here. You're just staring at me with a little grin on your face. You're not providing any feedback, though.
Of course, Judge has a higher OPS. He gets on base.
I hear that. I hear that. Yeah, no, you're right. But it's just... You can't ignore July 20th through August 30th. You can't ignore that.
No, but you take Judge off the Yankees and they don't make the playoffs. You take Altuve off, they still make the playoffs. Right.
That's probably my argument for Judge.
Right.
Altuve just is the face of baseball, and let's be honest, him being only 5'6", 160 pounds is probably a better MVP story. I think baseball's the best sport on earth because these two guys are competing for best player in the league. One's a monster. One is a quarter of a monster.
David and Goliath. Basically.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly what it's basically coming down to. Altuve is just the man, and I know playoffs don't matter.
Right.
But here's my thing. Now, me and you both being in the Northeast, both being in New York State, we're both Yankee fans.
Yeah.
We're pretty open about that. We saw Aaron Judge play all 162 games. From what I saw in the playoffs, if Jose Altuve did that, what he did in 15 or so games, for 162 games, wow, Houston is lucky.
Yeah.
Houston is very lucky.
Sure. Absolutely.
Do you think that Houston makes the playoffs without Altuve?
Yeah. Sure. I think they make a wild card.
Are they the best in the West?
No.
Who is?
Rangers.
See, I still think they're actually the best team in the West without Altuve.
If the Rangers didn't trade... actually, take off Altuve, that's still a pretty damn good team.
Right.
Yeah.
So you still got Springer. Reddick hit .314. Marwin Gonzalez is a Swiss Army knife who also bats .310.
That's a good point.
You know, McCann had a good bounce back year.
If the Rangers didn't trade Darvish and they stayed healthy, they could have made a run. But it just didn't come into fruition for them.
And if Rougned Odor didn't hit $1.90.
Yeah, exactly.
And if Joey Gallo didn't hit $1.50.
Exactly. A lot of factors had to come into account.
Yeah.
A healthy, performing Rangers team is a fringe playoff team.
So, you want to hear a little secret of mine?
What's that?
I was playing devil's advocate. I also agree with you. Aaron Judge will win the MVP.
I was going to say, like,
I think it's close. I think it's close.
Okay.
I think it's close.
Okay,
this is like what you said earlier when you said, who'd you say was way better? And I said, slow your roll.
Okay.
We were talking about that earlier. What was the context of that?
I don't know. I tune out any criticism I ever get.
You don't like criticism.
No, I'm kidding.
But you like to use terms like way better and not even close. When I'm like, hold on a second. This is a close race. You can't deny that. I agree with you though. Judge is going to come out on top.
But it shouldn't be that close if the only thing Altuve has is stolen bases and batting average.
But it's not like
production stats.
It's not like my thing for Altuve. It's not like his batting average was 10 points better than Judge. It was almost 100 points better than Judge.
The production stats favor Judge. Again, OPS plus, slugging, everything.
So remember how I said you can't ignore that July 20th to August 30th happened?
Yeah.
That's my argument for Judge, is that he's still here even with that dramatic slide when he dropped from 333 down to 263 and then worked his way back up in September to 280. September, he hit I think he hit the number 15 is jumping out in my head in terms of home runs per month. He might have hit 15 in the month of September.
Okay.
He had at least 10 home runs in September. I'm talking about. So like the last month of the year, Altuve was pretty average or above average, but Judge almost got the Yankees to win the division.
Yeah, almost.
I think you're right.
If they didn't have that,
I think you're right. If Judge is not on the team, they're not in the playoffs.
If they didn't have that slide in like late May through June, then. But.
Yeah. So, Aaron Judge over Jose Altuve. We can both agree on that. I'm going with Goldschmidt. You're going with Stanton. Flip a three-way coin for NL Cy Young.
For real.
AL Cy Young, Chris Sale.
Kluber.
Whatever. And then rookie manager of the year, just not AJ Hinch and not David Roberts. That's all I really care about. No. But we're pretty over for time today, but I think today was a special exception.
It was a special day. Awards, Roy Halladay, and all that, Yeah.
So, but that is going to do it for this edition of the AK-47 podcast. Give us some feedback on Facebook and Twitter. Let us know what you think. Your thoughts are on the Baseball Writers Awards and anything else you might want us to talk about for the rest of the offseason.
I also want to throw in, he's been asking for this for a while. Shout out to Tyler Nealons for existing, I guess. He's been asking for a shout out for a while, and he's been mad. So this is for you, Tyler.
A shout out to him being born.
Yes.
That's an interesting one.
Yep. Shout out to Tyler for having to deal with him for a semester and a half.
Awards will keep being announced, and we will keep sharing our thoughts on them as they keep coming out. But I'm looking forward to, from now on, talking about free agencies, what teams need, signings, everything like that. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we'll get a list together. We'll talk about it. Sure.
Yep, absolutely. It'll be a fun offseason, and we look forward to talking about it, and we hope you guys stick around for that. So thank you for watching, and thank you for listening, and please give us your feedback.